Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. We are one day away from the start of the NCAA tournament. I can't wait. Going to be a lot of big upsets. I'm predicting uh, more than normal, I would say. So I've got Keith Engel coming in 30 minutes past the hour. Going to ask him about the NCAA tournament. Going to get his thoughts on this NFL free agency. Aaron Rodgers pretty much says he wants to go to the New York Jets, but he says, I'm not making that announcement. I'll have quite a few sound bites from that, plus Ja Morant. Ja Morant will be able to play Monday. He served basically an 8-game suspension. Most of that has already been served. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Get our first and only break out of the way, and I'll be back here, folks, in 49 seconds. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, I'm back here live on All Links. Now, let's start off with the story that is the most imminent right now. Ja Morant. We're still in the NBA basketball season. He does an interview later. I think it's going to come out tonight with Jalen Rose saying that gun in the video was not his, and he's apologetic and all that good stuff. He's supposedly going to or went to some counseling down in Florida. Now, the NBA has put out a statement basically saying that he's going to be back on Monday, March the 20th, served an 8-game suspension for flashing the gun, although there was no evidence he had it on the facility. Meanwhile, Memphis has got back into the 2 seed of things. Pickles, I see you're coming up there. They've shown to have some depth there. They're riding a 3-game winning streak. They've got ahead of Sacramento, back for that 2 seed. And I'll say this. They went through a rough patch here over the last few weeks. But, Dylan Brooks gets suspended. I want to say he had some too many texts or whatever. You're past that. Ja Morant's going to be back Monday the 20th, next Monday. And they're in the 2 seed. Also, you got to look at it from this perspective as far as getting his head right with this rough patch. Also, he's got rested legs for this next stretch run for the Grizzlies. So, looks like they're going to be back in good shape. Now, I know Steven Adams, he's really got a pretty nagging type of injury, knee injury. He's going to be out the rest of the season, but there's a chance he can come back for the playoffs. Jared Jackson is playing a few extra minutes. I noticed that they're going with Tillman, Jackson, and Dylan Brooks. They're playing a 3-guard set there down in Memphis. So I actually think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be okay, and I think they're still going to be a threat in the West. I wouldn't pick them to win the West, but I do think that they're going to be rested, energized, and ready to make a run. That's just talking the basketball, folks. I mean, they're a deep team. Remember, they won a round last year, I want to say, over Minnesota. They pushed the much more veteran team there, Golden State, to 6 games. That team later went on to win the championship. Speaking of that Golden State team, yeah, they won the other night. But, Steph Curry also just turned 35 the other day. Happy late belated birthday. Don't see that Golden State team going very far. They got a lot of road games. Their road record this year is tremendous. Wiggins is not going to be back. From everything I'm hearing, some kind of personal issue or whatnot. And also, I don't think they're going to get Gary Payton. So a team like Memphis, they can make some noise with a Denver. And it looks like the Clippers, if you think about it, it looks like the Clippers are starting to come on and figure things out with Westbrook. And I notice he's not finishing games. And they're on a little bit of a winning streak as well. So I do think that we are still in good for a one heck of a run. It's going to be a little quiet the next few weeks because we've got this tournament in the NCAA starting up. But I do think the playoffs are going to be really interesting in the Western Conference pickles of the NBA. Okay, really big news now. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers spoke today on the Pat McAfee show. He seems like a guy that is really irritated. He tried to be as nice as he could, but he's really agitated with the Green Bay Packers, and I can tell they're a little agitated with him. I've got a few bites I want to play from that interview that was earlier today. He's out of his darkness retreat, been out of his darkness retreat for a while. He basically says that he made the decision. Yeah, I want to go. He says, this is not an announcement, but I see myself playing with the New York Jets in the 2023 season. And he says before he was 90% sure he was going to retire before going in the retreat. Then he comes out, he wants to play. Other words, it seems like he's really ticked off that Green Bay's pushed this thing forward. I don't blame Green Bay. Pickle says he has a man crush on Rodgers. Yeah, McAfee, that's why his show has really taken off. He gets these big names, and they've got like 400,000 people listening to this thing here. So let's play some bites here. This is Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers. He's got a haircut too. He looks like he's ready to play.
People that I trust around the league, players mostly, that there was some shopping going on, that they were interested in actually moving me. At this point, I got to admit, I went in the darkness, 90% retiring, 10% playing. That's where my mind was. My mind was, I'm tired of this. I hadn't got back into my workouts yet. And I thought that was what was best for me. So I went in the darkness and contemplated a lot of different things. But one day I spent entirely on the reality I was retired, and one day I spent entirely on the reality that I was coming back and playing. And just really sat with that for hours and hours, what that looked like, what the reality is, how that all felt. And when I came out, I was really interested in what the kind of landscape was, where Green Bay was at. And obviously, if I wanted to play, what were the options? So it was clear to me at that point that although the Packers were going to say the right thing publicly, that they were ready to move on. I don't know what changed that or what moved that. If they just said, hey, we need to make a decision here because he hasn't made a decision yet. Again, there's no victims here. I'm not sitting here as a victim. I love Green Bay. I love the fan base. They're incredible. I lived for playing for them and for Lambeau. A lot of love for the organization. I just think I wish that in the beginning of the offseason, that had been the conversation.
He's trying to play politically correct as much as possible. But you could tell he is hot. He is hotter, like my dad will say, than a $4 pistol. So y'all going to retire me now? So you're going to retire me? Okay. All right. Now it's on like Donkey Kong. More from Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show. I think it's entertaining to me.
Pickles. Feeling is he going to be able to hold up? So at this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets. Okay. And I haven't been holding anything up at this point. It's been compensation that the Packers are trying to get for me and kind of digging their heels in. So I would just, I think it is interesting at this point to step back and look at the whole picture. My side, love and appreciation, gratitude for everything that Green Bay has done for me. So much love and gratitude and just heart open for the Packer fans and what it meant.
Yeah. So he's saying that it's been a hold up. that now the Packers are saying we're not trying to get a haul. So there's the truth, Pickles. It's usually somewhere in the middle. It's usually somewhere in the middle here. So, all right, more on Rodgers on the McAfee show.
Look at the track record from the guy sitting over there to
ultimately
what happened with Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb and Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews, Brett Good, on and on and on. There's just a way of doing things that they want to bring him back. That's fine. It's a business, but there's a way of doing it that allows the man to keep the dignity. And honestly, that's some of the stuff I was fighting for.
I will say this. I am a fan of, I understand it's a business. There is not really a clean way to do this. When you're telling a player you're done with them, you have to move on. I do think, and I'll say this, Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach, who was a player, it was a former player. I'm watching him in Hard Knocks, and he was the classiest about being that. I'll give Rodgers credit for that. There is a point there. Hey, nobody wants to get cut, but pretty much everybody gets cut at some point. For the record, Peyton Manning was cut, folks. Peyton Manning was cut. And he's one of the greatest of all time. Joe Montana was essentially pushed out of the door. He's pushed out. He went to Kansas City for a year, and so, but I do think that there is a way you can call them in, thank them for their services. He was a real stand-up guy. Dan Campbell was about it. I don't think you have to, the players don't have to figure it out on social media. It takes just a few minutes there. It takes a few. Yeah, Pickle says his hurt feelings, he should get over it. Yeah, well, he's calling, saying, I want to play, I don't want to play. Then he later gets on how his ego was bruised here. And I've got that here in a few bites. I think it's this next one. Listen up.
Sorry about it.
That just wasn't the sentiment that I felt throughout the season. Especially even towards the end of the season, it felt like everybody was ready to move on. And, I was interested by what the conversation would be in the week after the season, but it was pretty obvious they weren't staying on the table. They weren't doing the opposite, though. It was kind of in the middle where whatever you want to do, we'll kind of do. And obviously that changed, and they felt like they had to take a hard line, which look, nobody wants to be the bad guy in the situation, and honestly, there isn't.
There's one more bite. That's not the right one. Here it is.
That honestly didn't have a big bearing on it. It was more just a sense that, hey, let's just be honest. Like, you drafted Jordan. If I hadn't won MVP twice in a row, this would have been a conversation 2 years before, which is totally fine, and I get it. And Ted Thompson, rest his soul, is not there anymore. He drafted me. None of those guys are, who were there other than Sam C.
So basically, yeah, they got a new regime in there. They're doing away with me. Yeah, his feelings were hurt. And Pickle says, it feels sorry for me. Woo-hoo, poor him, victimhood. That is true. Even though he says he's not a victim, usually when you say that, you're trying to claim it. He's made, I just talked about yesterday, of the kind of money, the $300 million, according to Spot Track, Matt Ryan. What do you think Rodgers has made? Closer to 400. The money is so big. The money is so big, and you're looked at. And I'm an independent contractor. I just got my taxes today. God, I've got it put back, but man, you just hate to pay it. But it's part of life, But I'm an independent, and that's essentially what these players are. You're independent contractors. You're your own business here for if you're lucky, more than 5 years. 10 years for some and 15 for others. And if you're Brady, 20. But eventually it's going to come to an end. And these quarterbacks are paid so much money that they don't, if you have a lick of common sense and some business smarts, you're never going to have to work for anybody else ever again in your life. He's made, my guess is, pretty close to $500 million. If you look at all those State Farm commercials he's on, he'll be okay. Now, as far as football, nothing is official yet. I I don't know who to believe here. Now he says, I want to be a New York Jet. He went on to say in this interview that it was a list of requests, not demands. I think he realized the backlash of bringing back a guy like who was it, Cobb, Randall Cobb or whatever, and Mercedes Lewis and players like that. Odell Beckham, who wants $20 million. Are you kidding me? They did sign Lazard. I'm okay with Lazard. Again, I think he's a better player than Corey Davis. Nothing has been official yet. I don't think they're going to give 4 or 5 a bunch of first-round picks for Rodgers. If so, the Packers are going to come out even more on top there. And but, I will say this. Sometimes people in life, coaches, organizations, myself included, we need to change the scenery. We need to change the scenery, and I think it'll light a fire. I just played we talked about this last week, I want to say, that Derek Carr, or maybe it might have been a few days ago, Derek Carr said, I've always had a little bit of fire. Now I got a lot of fire back. I mean, I really, because, he was pushed out the door with the Raiders, and now he's with the New Orleans Saints here, Derek Carr. So more power to you. You just hope, if you're a Jets fan, that you don't overpay in draft, and you hope that you get the guy for more than a year. You'd like to get him, ideally, if you really want to be ideal, about 3 years. Get him to about 42. He is making a habit, Nor, of checking the ball down, which is prolonging his career. But you don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. He's not quite to the fiery of a Tom Brady. But that being said, the last time he felt disrespected, he did go out and win 2 MVPs. This is a change of scenery, better environment. I think something's going to get done here in the next day or so. I don't think he wants to go out the way things have gone out. And yes, he's brought a lot of this on himself. You don't blame the Packers for draft. I mean, the guy was 37, 36, and he was coming back from a collarbone injury. They can't just sit on their hands and wait for you to deteriorate, then go out and draft the quarterback. They had to draft the quarterback, and he overreacted for it. You have to see, like I talked about yesterday on the program, you have to see things through other people's eyes. You have to see things through the organization's eyes and not be so offended when things happen. I've been guilty of getting really irritated and hot in my life over stuff like that. Now I realize, you know what? It is what it is. It's a business. Don't take it too personal. Move on. And especially in his case, that would be awesome if Pickle says the Packers, basically take on that salary. If they can take on that salary, relieve it from the Packers. Packers had a good draft last year. Packers made way with Devontae Adams trade to get a really good linebacker here. I like Christian Watson. I like what I saw from him. There was a few splashes there from Romeo Doubs. I like that Quell Walker or whatever, that linebacker they got out of Georgia. They had a good draft last year. Not too bad the year before that. They're looking pretty good in spots. They really are. They're going to they have some pretty high picks this year. Obviously, in the top 20, they're going to be fine. These guys are pretty well run. They're going to be fine. Like I said before, I have this thing about the Green Bay Packer, the Green Bay thing, where simply you concentrate better up there because there's nothing to do, and players get developed. So wait and see approach. Okay, is there any other news? Like I've been saying for a while, all off season, the Dallas Cowboys staying in the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys went on and cut Zeke Elliott. Thank God for them if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. So they went on and franchised Tony Pollard a week or so ago. They've cut Zeke Elliott. They should have never extended him a few years ago. And so they're gonna save a little over $10 million, I want to say. Adam Schefter says by designated Ezekiel Elliott as a post-June 1st cut. Remember, we talked about this before, that you save more money in some cases if you cut a player after June 1st. It's some kind of weird thing the way these contracts are written. By designated Zeke Elliott as a post-June 1st, the Cowboys will save $10.9 million in salary cap space with $5.8 million in dead money. His contract will stay on the books until then, but he's free to sign with another team anytime if you want to get a short yardage guy. And CBS put this out. His average yards per game in 2022, 58.4. That's the lowest in his career. He's deteriorated from his rookie year, 108.7 and 16, 17, 98.3, 95, 84, 65. I mean, just deteriorate. And, you know, it is what it is. The guy's not even 30 years old yet, you know. So he's going to be available. Other thoughts here. Darius Slay was cut. Now, I was surprised that they could not, saying in the same division, the Eagles could not come up with anything they could not restructure Darius Slay. Good cornerback. Now, Pro Football Focus says he kind of fell off. I didn't see it. They got him ranked at about 13th. And according to Pro Football Focus, Bradbury, the opposing corner, had a higher rating than Slay. Bradbury, I think, is a few years younger. He went on to re-sign with the Eagles. Now 32-year-old Darius Slay is signed, and he just turned 32. So you're going to get 2 good years out of him. Somebody will give him a 2-year deal. Somebody needs a corner. I was thinking about a 49er team who just let go Emmanuel Mosley. So keep that in mind. Somebody that's a contender. They've already signed Javon Hargrave from the Philadelphia Eagles of 49ers. Keep an eye on that 49er team who has a great roster, possibly signing former Eagle Darius Slay. So Eagles took a beating with lost players. Yeah, they did, Pickles. You know, they did. But they brought back Fletcher. Fletcher Cox, I think he's way past his prime. They gave him another contract. He must be a heck of a leader. And I think he is. I think he's a coach on the field. He's a leader. That's something I should ask the Philly sports guy when we get a chance here. All that being said, that hurt. I will say, if you're an Eagles fan, losing Slay hurts. They've got the 10th pick. There's a cornerback. I think his name is Martinez out of Oregon. I don't know his last name. He's out of Oregon. And some of the mock drafts have them taking that corner. They'll probably go the rookie corner route there. They'll probably go that opposed with Bradbury. They still may bring back Gardner Johnson there, perhaps, from the Saints. That used to be with the Saints. And then again, maybe they won't. I mean, I wouldn't put that much focus in on the safety over a cornerback, but I think they're probably going to go safe to say, if they don't make another major move, the Eagles, excuse me, talking 23 minutes straight here. The Eagles, will probably draft a cornerback with that 10th pick, folks. Yeah, they're making moves. Pickle says, you know, Fletcher Cox is 105 in NFL years. Mississippi Gate. Yeah, he's very good. Good player there. He's got to be a mentor. Remember, they drafted Jared Davis, folks, the really big defensive tackle out of Florida or out of Georgia last year. Players make their big jump, folks, from week 1 to from year 1 to year 2. So there's a big move there. It's 24 minutes past the hour. I've got Keith Engel coming up here shortly. Switching gears to the round ball. Now, I'll tell you what, college, this tournament is wild. It's going to be wide open. I think there's probably going to be a George Mason, but I don't know who that George Mason's going to be. I've been looking at this since Sunday, and I've got a lot of questions to ask. We'll do some rapid fire free agency talk with Keith, but mainly I want to get some tournament talk in with him. I do not think it's going to be 4 number ones in this tournament this year. I mean, I picked, by the way, side note, the last time a number 1 overall seed had won the NCAA tournament was 2013. Rick Pitino's Louisville Cardinals, I want to say, won a national championship then. So I don't know Alabama could win it or not. I didn't have 4 number 1s in my Final Four. I got Texas at 2, Gonzaga at 3, with Alabama and Purdue, and Alabama over Texas. That'll probably be wrong, okay? In the national championship, I have no idea. There's going to be a team out there. Some of the ESPN guys have picked Connecticut, who's a 4 seed to win the national championship. So we'll see what happens here. FDU going to take this game with Texas Southern. Possibly. FAU, I want to say. They've got a good matchup there, Carlos. Who is it there? FAU is supposed to be a really good team, but they've drawn somebody strong like Memphis, I want to say. And Memphis, they beat the number 1 team in the country in the tournament. They beat Houston. On Saturday. But Duke or Roberts, I mean, there's a lot of 5-7s here, that could go in here. I'm looking at this thing now. I heard Farming can win. They can beat Virginia. I mean, there's just a lot of crazy stuff in there. I thought I had them all. I guess I didn't. I just had a few I was going to ask Keith, but I'm going to ask him anyways. What does he think his upsets would be? My thing is, like I was saying the other day on the tournament, if you're betting it, very fun. I had a good time last year betting the tournament. And again, let me just make this announcement before Keith comes on. Tomorrow, I'm going to air the interview I had with Dave Harris for Let's Talk Sports, who created a podcast network. Dan's got cancer. He talks about his cancer and it's in stage 4 and everything. He's been, disability, bedridden, but during this time, he has put together a well of a podcast network. A lot of interviews. They talk just about every sport under the sun. He's out of the UK. Really nice guy. My show was broadcasting through that. So Dan's a good guy. It's about a 45, 50-minute interview. I don't have the exact time on it, but I've already got it recorded. It's going to play tomorrow, which gives me tomorrow afternoon off, and I'm happy because I'm probably going to get a pizza, and I'm going to bet some of these FanDuel games, just a few dollars here and there, like we was talking about earlier the other day, Pickles. I may just take the points. There's such an opportunity for an upset this year like no other, that I may just take a lot of these teams. Like, for instance, I want to say a Louisiana. They got like 12 points versus Tennessee. Tennessee lost a player the other day. Louisiana, the 13th seed, for instance, may take them. Marquette, they were supposed to be a Cinderella, and now they are all the way up to a number 2 team. They're number 2 seed. Now, they got Shaka Smart, really good coach there. But, yeah, Tennessee lost a player, a key player. And I want to say UCLA lost a player. UCLA. Pickle says just take all the underdogs in the first round. I might do that. I very well may do that. Have some fun with it. Try not to get parlay crazy because you can do that Red Robin thing, I guess, where you can buy some insurance. Like if you pick like a 7 or 8 team parlay, and you buy the Red Robin, one of them could lose and you still win some money. You wouldn't get the full payout, but you would win something like that. Me personally, I'll probably bet a lot of them individually and I may do some parlays. I know FanDuel offered a free bet, like if you lose, you get that bet back. I want to say that I may have took I think I took Charleston Southern and the points there. They're getting like 5.5. I keep hearing it. Furman, they got a really good coach out there. And that is according to Jay Wright, former Villanova coach, talks about Furman. They're getting 5.5 against Virginia. Remember, Virginia won the national championship, 3 or 4 years ago with DeAndre Ayton, if I'm not mistaken. If you guys recall, the year before that, Virginia lost. They were only 16 seed, 1 seed to get beat by a 16 seed. So I thought that was interesting here. But anyways, hopefully we'll be able to get Keith Engel on here in just a minute here. I was going to ask him what does he thinks about this NFL free agency. Go to get a quick Aaron Rodgers take, and we'll just dive right into that Final Four. In other news, I guess, we can kill a little bit of time. Tampa has signed Baker Mayfield. Okay, I'll get into that at another time. The media put too much into Baker Mayfield signing with Tampa. I just seen Keith Engel pop up in here with his Miami jersey on here. Hey, Keith, how you doing, man?
Hello, Robert. How are you?
Man, I'm gassed up today. Really excited about this tournament, man. But I will ask you about the NFL free agency. How about the Patriots bringing in Juju Smith-Schuster, but they let Jacoby Myers go? What was that all about?
I don't like the trade-off there. I mean, the Patriots weren't going to go. I think he signed for 14. I'm trying to remember what he signed for.
Do you think it's just a number thing?
It did come down to money with Jacoby Myers for sure.
Okay.
And I don't like that trade-off. I'm not a huge Juju Smith fan. I can't even say his name for crying
Juju Smith-Schuster. He seemed like kind of got some maturity issues a little bit. Kind of like Chase Claypool, another former Pittsburgh Steeler there. They let Jonah, what's his name? Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have told you never to sign him. What was that all about?
What a waste of money. And somebody said they could have got more than a 7th round pick. For the contract you got to take on, I don't think you can get more than a 7th round pick. I mean, they did well to get that. So goodbye, Jonnu.
Goodbye. Oh, now there is some rumors that they're interested. Did you hear that they're possibly interested in according to this guy named Jeff Howe, sources say the Patriots have called about DeAndre Hopkins. We talked about that before. No. And Jerry Jeudy out of Denver. And Odell Beckham, by the way. I mean, what is the thing about Odell Beckham coming off? Why is people interested? You think that's his agent putting that out there?
I do. I mean, he was why did he never play last year? Why did he never sign with a team last year? Something's up with this whole thing. It smells really bad to me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe he can't play. I don't know, but I don't want him on the team. I love DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
I know he's had some injury issues, but I think he'd be a perfect fit for this offense and just what Mac Jones needs. Now, whether they're going to want to trade what it's going to take to get him, I don't know. So
what's he like, 31 or something? I don't think he's that old, though. I don't think he's in his mid-30s, though, is he?
No, I think he's around 30. He might be 31, but I think he's still in his prime. I think again, you keep him on the field. He's a great, great talent. Yeah. And exactly what Mac Jones needs and Bill O'Brien needs to make this offense spread the field a little bit.
What do you think about Jeudy? Is it you think it's something issue with? He's really talented. I'm surprised that they would do that.
Yeah, I've heard talk about that since the season ended. That they may part ways with him, and it seems a little odd because, I mean, I don't think they're really deep at the position that they can afford to do that. But it might be that just he doesn't fit what Sean Payton wants to do there. I don't know, but he's a talented guy. I'd rather see them take a flyer on him than Juju.
Yeah, Yeah, he could get down the field. He's a big play guy, if you ask me. And Juju's not really that big a player.
Yeah, he's another, he's Jacoby Myers, but I don't think he's even as good as Jacoby Myers. So
yeah,
not anymore.
Jacoby would catch it every time I seen him play. He catch everything they threw to him.
Yeah, he's always a guy who moved the chains. The knock on him for a while was, he didn't score touchdowns. I mean, he went like 4 years in his career before he scored a touchdown.
Oh, wow.
But the last couple of years, he's got found the end zone 4 or 5 times a season. And a guy who moves the chains, and he makes some great catches. And again, he had some trouble staying on the field the last couple of years himself. But yeah, that's a money thing. And I think, I think it was the guaranteed money too that the Patriots were not willing to do.
Oh, okay.
But because of some other things, they got to have cap room if they're going to go after Hopkins or Judy too. So I'm kind of getting that sense, because I know they've got some money this year, that they're going to go big somewhere. Yeah, I don't know what they're waiting for. I mean, again, they've talked, because we're already 3 days into free agency, and Juju Smith's their biggest signing. Well, re-signing Jonathan Jones was a big move too.
Was he the best corner of that core? I couldn't remember.
Yeah, he was a guy, and he had his moments last year, but he's kind of inconsistent, But I think they wanted to keep some veteran presence there, because there's a lot of kids,
right?
In that secondary.
Retired, didn't he?
And with Devin McCourty leaving, there's a gaping hole both on the field and in the locker room there, because he's a Hall of Fame player and person. He's just a good human being.
Yeah. Do you have anybody, do you think, that's kind of got a leg up on everybody in free agency from what you've seen so far? I know it's still early, though.
As far as team-wise,
Yeah. Who are you impressed with the most?
I kind of like what Jacksonville's done. I like what Chicago's done too, actually. I like what the Bears have done. I think they've addressed the defensive side of the football, and I think the team that really is getting hurt a little bit, the Eagles have lost like 3 key players, 2 on defense, and now I saw Miles
Sanders went to Carolina, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's a big loss for that offense too.
Darius Slade, could you believe they let him go?
Slade and the kid who went to the 49ers, Hargrave, and then
the defensive tackle.
Yeah, I mean, I just am a little surprised at some of the guys they've let walk away, but maybe it's not them letting them walk. Maybe they wanted to go for whatever reason. I don't know. But
yeah, man. They're such a deep team. They've got a high draft pick. I think they may go corner with that 10th pick. I'm sure Jamie's got plenty to say about that from the Eagles.
I'm sure.
They brought back Fletcher Cox. He's 100 years old.
Yeah, he's as old as me, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I think him and I graduated from different schools together.
Yeah, he played back with Reggie White and that crowd in the 80s there.
You're right. I think the Bills get hurt too, losing one of their better linebackers. And I mean,
Tremont, Edmonds. He was only 24 too. I thought he was older than that.
Yeah. So again, I think there's teams that have gotten hurt, I think, more than teams that have really done well for themselves.
Yeah. Well, I personally like what Denver did. I mean, they went out, they got a guard, and then they've got McClinchy there from the 49ers, went right after the offensive line. Unlike Tennessee, they're sitting on their hands. They went right after offensive line help there.
Yeah, what is Tennessee waiting for? Have they done anything?
Well, they signed another former Eagle, Dillard.
Okay.
Back up, left tackle.
Good.
So, who knows, man? What's your thoughts about this Aaron Rodgers saga, man? Since we kind of share a show with Mac, Jack, and Jim.
Listen, if I'm no Aaron Rodgers fan, but
I hear you.
If I'm the Jets, I got no choice. I have no plan B. Plan Bs have all signed elsewhere.
Or go after Tannehill.
Yeah, well,
or bring back Zach Wilson.
Oh my! Zach Wilson probably will come back, and the upside if Rodgers comes here, and I don't know that. I mean, I think he can still play well enough to help. And the Jets have a lot of talent. They're a quarterback away from being a contender in the AFC. I think.
Yeah, I didn't realize how good their defense was. I went back and looked at this. They're top 5 in scoring and in yards.
That defense is ready to contend now. They've got pieces around the quarterback. They need to fix the offensive line a little bit. But taking a flyer on Rodgers, but the whole situation is just so freaking weird.
I know.
If you saw
the Pat Mac, I was just playing bits from it. He's saying that I wanted to go there Friday, but they're still working out stuff. I don't wonder if that's true or not.
Well, I don't know. And he got all over what's the guy's name from ESPN, the insider?
Adam Schefter.
Adam Schefter. He told him to lose.
No, was he joking? Was that serious?
I saw the clip on the Pat McAfee show, and it looked to me like he was serious. He said, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and I told him to lose my number.
Man, I thought that was funny. Yeah.
But I don't doubt for a second that Rodgers has said, before I get there, I'd like to see some guys come in. I don't think it's a coincidence that they signed Lazard yesterday.
Right. They signed Lazard, and I will say this. I did look up the stats. I do think he's better than Corey Davis. Corey Davis came out of Tennessee. I told people, don't sign Corey Davis, don't sign Jonnu Smith. One's unproductive, and another one's hurt all. Davis hurt all the time, man.
I would say Lazard is better than Davis. Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's a bad player.
He's not that bad, but you just wonder. Rodgers is like, nah, I didn't. Those are wish lists. Those aren't demands.
Don't you worry though.
Lewis is 37 years old, man.
Yeah. And again, I am saying the Jets should take this chance because their window, the window isn't always that wide open for that long. And we just need a quarterback.
That is true, man.
But I worry about him being under the microscope in New York. It's going to be much different than Green Bay. And I worry about a guy who says, when I went in the dark cave, I was 90% sure I was going to retire. And when I came out, I don't know who he talked to in there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Puxatawny or something.
He should have kept that to himself. He looks a little bit like a whack job with
He doesn't keep anything to himself. There's a lot of information I don't need from you, Aaron. And
TMI, man. I'm like, I went into the retreat 90% going to retire. I came out thinking, oh, you want to do away with me? Okay, I'm going to the Jets now.
Yeah. And he probably went in there and he said, wait a minute, I got 60 million reasons not to retire. So.
Terrell Owens had an incident, and remember the big crazy thing. This woman said he was gonna not an agent. She was like an assistant. She's like, he's got so and so million reasons not to commit suicide. He's not gonna commit suicide. Do you remember that with Terrell Owens?
I do.
He was going through his kind of dark, retreat kind of crazy thing. Well, I'm glad to see you getting a little bit better, man.
A little better. I still got a bit of a cough and
it hurts still, huh?
But I'm probably 100% better than the last time you saw me. I was about down and out then. So
right. That's why I didn't want to bring you on next week. I want to give you here. I'm gonna do a little transition here.
Oh yeah,
buddy. Hey, so I'm hearing people talking about the tournament here. Some of the ESPN guys are saying Connecticut with a 4 seed may make it to the Final Four and win a national championship. What do you think about Connecticut, man?
I think they've got a shot. They're playing here in Albany. I'm 8 minutes from where they're playing the regional here in Albany, New York.
Nice.
Connecticut's playing Iona. I like Connecticut to get. I think I had them going to the Elite Eight. Is where I have them going.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. I've got them beating Iona. Iona's a live dog, though. If Iona shoots, because Iona and Rick Pitino,
right?
They press all day game long, so it's hard to get into your offense, right? Because you don't have a lot of time left on the shot clock once you get the ball up the court. I take that back. I do have UConn getting upset in the second round by VCU. VCU's red hot.
Wow. Man, you know what? Ever since Shaka Smart has left there, it's like the program has just stayed on top, man.
They have not really faltered at all.
Have they?
A little bit here and there, but they're pretty consistent. And Shaka Smart, speaking of Shaka Smart, he's got to be the best coach in the country this year. Marquette picked to finish 9th in the Big East. They rolled through the Big East tournament. I thought they had a shot at a 1 seed, but if Purdue hadn't won, I think there was a chance Marquette might have got to that 1 line. But I don't think the difference between 1 and 2 is that big a deal. I've got Marquette coming out of that region, and I got Marquette winning it all.
Dang. I was going to ask you, what is your What is your Final Four? It feels like a George Mason year to me, man.
It's funny. I've got a lot of upsets early. A lot of upsets. I got 3 number ones going out in the second round. I got Alabama, the only one getting through to the Final Four.
Wow.
I've got 2 2s in Marquette and Texas. And I've got a 3. Gonzaga, who I've been down and burying all year, is playing great basketball.
Yeah.
Tremendous basketball.
Mark Few, man.
Mark Few is one of the greatest coaches in the country, and he gets the least publicity of anybody.
Yeah.
He just wins year after year. I was a little worried about their backcourts, not quite as veteran and athletic as normal, but Drew Timmy's a guy who just doesn't seem to want to be denied.
Man.
And they've got a freshman who's come out of nowhere up there too. So
you think Gonzaga? So I've got Gonzaga. Here's my Final Four.
I've got them in the Final Four, yeah.
Gonzaga, Texas, Purdue, and Alabama. I mean,
well,
go figure. I think Purdue can lose.
I think I got Purdue going out, I think, in the second. Yeah, I got 3 number ones. I got Houston losing to let me see my bracket here. Hold on.
Okay.
I got Houston losing to Iowa. I think Iowa's going to win a couple games. Fran McCaffrey.
Oh, you think they're going to beat Auburn? Now, that's played in Birmingham.
It is.
In the next few days.
It is. That's going to be a really good 8-9 game. And I think Iowa is playing good enough. They play good defense. They can shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
Fran McCaffrey hasn't had great luck in this tournament. He's had trouble getting past the round of 32, but I think this year he does it.
Wow.
And, I've got them losing to Miami in the Sweet 16, actually.
Man.
But I got Houston going.
So you got Miami beating Drake.
I do. That's a good game.
Those 5-12s, man, are kind of,
Drake is another team. Drake's not very deep, but that's an upset possibility. I mean, I'm on Miami basically because, I'm a fan because of my stepson, but Miami's got a really good athletic team, but Drake is really good. They're not very deep. That's their problem, but they got those good veteran guards, and that's what wins in this tournament. You have veteran guards who are athletic. You got a shot to go ways in this tournament.
And that's some kind of rebounding.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a bunch of All-Americans.
No.
Kentucky proves that every year.
Yep.
They always underachieve.
Yep. And so, again, I've got Drake could be a live possibility there. I've got Houston going out. I got that already. Hold on. Sorry. Kansas going out in the second round to Arkansas. I've got Arkansas.
Okay, Bill Self's coming back from having those stints. Traditionally, you seem like you watch this every year. Kansas really hasn't lived, other than winning that national. They have a lot of down years where they get beat early.
They do. Last year was not one of them, obviously, and they got a chance to do something only 2 other teams have done in the last 50 years, and that's when.
You think it's another second round exit?
I do. I've got. I think Arkansas is the type of team that they don't match up well with. Kansas is a really good team, but they're not terribly deep, and they foul a lot, and that's not a good combination.
Oh man.
So I think. Yeah, Bill Self coming back will help them, give them a little emotional lift, I'm sure. But, I hope he's okay. I think I would think it takes a little more time to recover from having a couple of stents put in here.
Man, right?
But
anyway, 4 days.
But they have been known to go out early, and I like them going out early as well. And I like Purdue to get beat in the second round by, who did I have beating them? Memphis. Memphis is red hot. Another team that's red hot. Oh,
yeah, they beat Houston the other day in the tournament.
Yeah. I've got Memphis getting to the regional final. I got Memphis losing in the regional final to Marquette.
Wow. Marquette only won by 2 the other day.
They won the Big
tournament
East
championship, didn't they? The
conference. No, they won that by more than that. They won by double.
Really? I thought it was, but maybe that was at one point. I thought it was like 72-70. I may have missed something there. I don't know.
Actually, they got by St. John's by just 72-70.
Oh, okay.
In the tournament in overtime, yeah. So that was their scare in the tournament. They played a textbook game against Xavier in the final. They played great defense. They ran their offense well, and this team's going to be a very tough out.
So you got Mark. Okay, all right. How about this? Duke and Oral Roberts. Duke's a 5. Oral Roberts is a 12.
Ranked too high, Oral Roberts. That's an 8-9.
Okay.
They should be an 8-9 team in my mind. They played really good. They've only lost 4 games all year, and every team they lost to is in the tournament. And they didn't lose any of them badly. They lost to Houston, all of them on the road.
Okay.
So I think they're a live dog. I've gone back and forth on this because Duke's playing much better basketball now.
Now, you know how sometimes when a legendary coach leaves, the new coach takes over and the team plays above their head the first year. Do you see that in a Duke this year?
It's possible. We saw it with Hubert Davis last year.
Yeah, they're not even in the tournament this year.
Nope. So it happens. And look, they've righted the ship. They got off to a bad start or slow start, 5-4, and the critics were all over Jeff Dyer. But he's done a great job here, especially at the tail end of the season. They played great in the ACC tournament. The ACC's down a little bit this year.
Okay.
But I'm back and forth on this game. Right now, I'm on Oral Roberts. I got Oral Roberts winning 2 games because I got Tennessee going out in the first round, too, against Louisiana.
They got a player that got injured, and Louisiana, I was going to ask you that. They're getting 11 points.
Yeah.
Actually, I took them at 9.5, and I think I may take them again at 11 to beat to at least cover that point spread.
Yeah, I'm going to bet that game myself. I like that a lot. Tennessee's played really bad, 4-6 their last 10, and
yeah,
they played one good game in the SEC tournament, and then they got beat.
And that was the one I bet. The mother bleepers beat me. I had 11. I think it was Ole Miss. I had 11 points, and they won by 15. Go figure.
I think it was Mississippi State. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was one of those Mississippi schools. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course they get beat by Missouri the next day. What do you think about Missouri? I hear that they're underrated.
They are. Who are they playing? They're playing Utah State, I think, in the first round. I like Utah State here. Mountain West, underrated league. 4 bids this year. I know a little bit of little controversy over Nevada getting in with that last seed. They're playing tonight against Arizona State in the first 4. But that's an underrated league. And Utah State, Boise State, San Diego State, all really, really good teams. And I think Utah State will take Missouri out.
Oh, do you think San Diego State's going to beat Charleston? You know it's in Orlando, though.
I do. And Charleston's got a little bit of an advantage there.
Home court, yeah.
I like San Diego. San Diego State's played really good basketball down the stretch here, too. Played really well in the Mountain West tournament. And I think I've got them winning a couple games. I've got them beating Virginia in the second round, actually, and losing to Alabama.
Well, so you don't think Furman's going to – I hear Furman's got a really good coach, too.
Yeah, Furman
J. Wright
got a really good coach, and it's a really bad matchup for Virginia because Furman plays about the same style that Virginia plays. So it's kind of the worst. It's the worst matchup Virginia could get. I think they'll find a way to win this game, but Furman could be a little live dog there, too.
Wow. So you'd like going back to San Diego State. Now, San Diego State playing Charleston. I took Charleston because it's playing in Orlando. Look how far that is.
Yeah, my problem with Charleston is they haven't beaten a team ranked in the top 100 all year long.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The record is good, but and no, it's not. The conference wasn't that good. I mean, you can't take anything away from them. They had a great season. You can only play the teams you got on the court, right?
Yeah.
You know, I always make that argument. That's one of the things I don't think West Virginia's and Mississippi State's ought to be in this tournament with below 500 records in their conference, you know, and everybody throws up.
Maybe it's called a Bob Huggins.
Well, you know, with West Virginia, it's kind of because, you know, they talk about all the teams that they played in Quad 1, but they lost them all. I mean,
they did beat Auburn, but Auburn's not that good this year.
Yeah, they got like the 10th toughest schedule in the country, right? So they finished 17-12. They lost. They lost all those games. I mean, at some point your record does come into play, you know. So
that is true. Now I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Creighton. What do you think about Creighton NC State? That seems like a good matchup.
Creighton's played better. I've got Creighton beating NC State. They were the prohibitive pick to win the Big East before the season started. And
really? They
kind of had a bad stretch in the middle of the season. They righted the ship at the end. I think they've lost in the semifinals of the Big East tournament. They played much better. Another veteran team and a really good coach. McDermott's a really good coach. And I think they'll beat NC State, but I got them losing in the second round.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. See, the opinions, man, they are all over the place.
They are. Yeah, there's another sleeper that I like getting and winning 2 games. UC Santa Barbara.
Oh, wow.
I've got them beating Baylor in the first round and Creighton in the second round.
So Baylor's just not the Baylor of a few years ago.
No, they're not as good as a national championship team for sure. They've been very up and down this year when they've played well. I mean, they could go on a 6-game run here and
right,
you know, and do really well, but they're just as likely to go out the first game in my mind. So kind of my rule of thumb in the tournament when I'm picking my brackets. And listen, I'm not always perfect.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Oh, it's a crapshoot sometimes.
My rule of thumb is if I don't have a team like a favorite, one of the higher seeds or whatever you might want to say, if I don't have them winning 2 games, I'll pick against them in the first round. What's the point? You know, because in most of the brackets, it's like a one.
You play a lot of bracket. I played like 4 already from ESPN. I don't put a lot of money. I don't put any money in them. I
made a couple of money brackets, and I got some for fun. I got one on TGI Sports Talk. Get into one on TGI Sports Talk.
Okay.
It's all free. Well, that's just for bragging rights.
Yeah. Is it? Where is it at? It's on your
it's
Facebook.
It's on the TGI Sports Talk page. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll get one too.
Try to put that in the next day or so. Now, UCLA has an injury. How bad do you think this injury to this player is?
Well, Clark is out. Clark's one of the best defensive players in the country. He's out for this season, and they lost 2 other guys that may make it back, either during the tournament or maybe first round.
But UNC Asheville beat them?
I don't think so. I think UCLA is good enough to beat them without these guys. But this team, if they were full strength, this is a team good enough to win a national championship. And if they were without all 3 of these guys, they're going to have a tough time getting through a couple of rounds. I did have them winning 2 games, but
I was going to ask you about that Northwestern Boise State because the winner of that game would play UCLA in that second round. I like
Northwestern to beat Boise. And Northwestern's had a really good year. They got a good possibility, right? I could go back and change. This is one I may change. I've been flip-flopping on.
Because you said that ain't Boise in the Mountain West, or are they in the Pac-12?
They're in the Mountain West too, but I like Northwestern. They've had a really good season in the Big Ten, and Chris Collins, a really good coach. And I like them to win that first round. I've been flip-flopping on the UCLA Northwestern game in the second round. I keep going back and forth.
Well, because you keep hearing this buzz about those injuries are really going to catch up with them.
Well, yeah, that's why, again, you need guys to be healthy. Houston, that's why I don't like Houston. I mean, Sasser, their best player, he's an All-American, first-team All-American.
Man, cost me a parlay the other day, man.
Yeah, again, they say he's going to play, but how healthy are you going to be? You don't get over groin injuries, in 5 days. I wouldn't even play him. If I'm Kelvin Sampson, I'd probably sit him in the first round because they don't need him for that game. They can win that game without him.
16, yeah.
You're going to need him every other game, though. So I might not even play him.
You don't see any crazy upsets like a 2 or losing, do you?
In the first early?
First round, yeah.
First round, do I have any 2s going out?
I know that's crazy. I know UCLA is one of them, but it just feels like it's that year, man. I mean, Alabama got beat on the road at Oklahoma earlier this year.
Yeah, I don't think I had anybody lower than a 3 or higher than lower than a 3 getting beat in the first round. But in the second round, I got a bunch of chalk going out in the first round.
What about Texas A&M Penn State? A lot of people talking about that game.
I like Texas A&M. They're playing so good. That's a team that was seeded way too low, too. Way too low.
Yeah, they got a good coach down there.
The 7 seed. They were the second best team in the SEC, who's probably might be the best conference in the country.
Can you believe that in basketball? It's been years since the SEC was like that.
Yeah, and this team should not be a 7 seed, and this is a good matchup. Penn State's playing really, really well. Jalen Pickett
you like A&M, but that could be a buzzer beater.
It could be. I think Penn State is going to have a lot of momentum coming out of that. Even though they lost to Purdue, I think they're going to have a lot of momentum coming out of that tournament. And it's going to be if A&M needs to shut down Jalen Pickett, like Purdue shut down Jalen Pickett, that's going to be the key for them to win, which I don't think they'll do. Or I think they will do well enough to get by Penn State. Jalen Pickett's from up here. He transferred from Siena right up the road from me here. And
I've heard of that. That they were in they had a run a few years ago, didn't they?
Siena's been, it seems like every few years. The last time they were in, Fran McCaffrey from Iowa was their head coach.
Oh, okay.
And they won one. They did win a game. When they get in, they almost always seem to win a game.
Yeah,
they've had a couple of runs. Mike Dean, probably 30 years ago now. But they won 2 games. when Paul Hewitt was there. He went on to Georgia Tech later on. They won a couple of games when they got in the tournament.
Yeah. So who was your Final Four? You said you had Alabama and who?
I got Alabama. I got 2-2s in Texas and Marquette, and I got number 3 Gonzaga coming out.
You got Marquette winning it all.
And I got Marquette beating Texas.
A friend of mine, she's a big Marquette fan. She's from Milwaukee area. Yeah.
This Texas team, what's his name? Terry. No, Terry for Texas took over this team under some very tough circumstances.
Yeah.
With Beard getting fired after the allegations against him.
And his wife and stuff. And then, who rehired? Who was it? Ole Miss hired him.
Ole Miss hired him today, yeah. He wouldn't ask any questions about, listen, I don't doubt for a second this guy put his hands on his fiance.
Yeah.
Just because the charges were dropped doesn't mean this guy's innocent.
Now, going back to Shaka Smart, is this Shaka Smart's players?
They are now. Last year he was playing. He played with.
He coached at Texas for a while.
He was at Texas for quite a while. This is his second year at Marquette. Second year at Marquette. And he
just couldn't get it going in Texas, man. Maybe he left too soon. I don't know.
Well, you know what? He came in. Buzz Peterson was a coach at Marquette before Shaka Smart. Now he's got Texas A&M playing really good basketball.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's smart, man. He's something. I thought maybe he was going to get fired at Texas because it just wasn't it wasn't taking off. And
he got out ahead of the posse by taking the Marquette job.
Yeah.
Most people.
And now they're playing well. You just wondered if it was something that he started, and then Beard. Now Beard's a good coach. I think he coached at Texas Tech. Didn't he prior to this? Yeah,
he took Texas Tech to the final when Virginia won. Yeah,
guy's a good coach. He just got to quit boxing with his wife.
Don't be hitting women.
Oh man. Well, Ole Miss, they've got Lane Kiffin. They'll take anybody.
Well, look at if you can coach, people overlook a lot of things. I mean, Will Wade got hired at McNeese State, and this guy is like on the NCAA's.
Yeah, and then he starts off getting suspended. What was that all about?
What? It's a weird series of events. They sign him, they have a pep rally, then they suspend him 5 games, hoping that's going to mitigate the NCAA.
For those of you listening, that was the former LSU coach. I think he had some recruiting violations or something.
Yeah, he was accused of arranging and in some cases handing the money over himself to players and parents and coaches and friends of players and everybody else to get guys to come to LSU. So,
man, we'll see how it plays out. I'm going to listen to this over before I put my final bracket in TGI Sports, and that's your Facebook page for bracket.
Yes.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, I think I'll do that.
You know what? Let me do this. I can put it because I still got it copied. I think I can put it right in the comments here if you want. I mean, put it in the private chat.
Or you can put it in my messenger. Either one.
Oh, yeah, I can.
Put it in my messenger. That'd be awesome, man.
I'll message you with it, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll fill it out. I'll probably fill it out in the morning.
Pickle's showing that he's as old as me when he's flashing back.
Al McGuire.
I was a Marquette fan when I was a kid, and Al McGuire was my favorite coach when I was a kid.
Didn't Dwayne Wade play for them?
Dwayne Wade did. He played for Tom Crean. They went to the Final Four in his senior year at Marquette.
What happened to Tom Crean, man?
He parlayed that success at Marquette to go into Indiana.
And then that didn't work out.
Had a little bit of success, and then things went downhill, and he went to Georgia, and he's doing TV now. I saw him on.
Oh, okay. He got good personality. I think he's related to the Harbaughs.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
I think he's married to one of the sister or something.
I did not know
Sports Illustrated, what Pickles says. Man, you really hey, I appreciate you coming on. This is going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. I love the tournament. These first 2 days, or 4 days, I should say, for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, wall-to-wall basketball from noon to midnight.
I did an interview with our friend Dan on Saturday, and so I've got tomorrow afternoon off. That's why I wanted to drill you today. Give me a pizza. I'm really living on the edge. I never go out to eat during the week.
You're living large here, Robert.
Yeah, I don't want to be just basketball, especially with FanDuel. I'll play the point, $2 or $3 play the points, play a few parlays, something like that. And like we was talking about, Pickles was saying earlier, just take the point. I may even take like plus 23 and whoever's playing against one of these 1 seeds,
You can't be surprised at anything that happens in this tournament because it's as wide open as I've ever seen it, ever.
Yeah, there's a George Mason. I just don't know who it is.
It's possible. You may see a 12 get there. You might. Might.
A Bradley.
Maybe I had some guy one of my followers, Anthony, earlier saying he wants Nevada to lose tonight. Don't forget, Shaka Smart took VCU from the first 4 to the Final Four. He's the only guy ever to do it. Maybe Nevada does it tonight.
Yeah. Virginia Commonwealth. What would Howard Cosell say about that? Little school out of Virginia. Who would have thought?
You got a better Howard Cosell imitation than I do, that's for sure.
Yeah. Virginia. I mean, I don't know why. I just you read when you see VCU, and then they do it again, and the year after that they win a few games. Yeah. I could think of a guy like him, Howard Cosell. So who is this? Who would have thought? Virginia Commonwealth. They're back again. Cinderella. There's a sequel.
Well, I got them going a few rounds this year, so.
Hey man, all right. And you're right, Shaka Smart with Marquette. I'm going to roll with you on that one a few rounds, and you're right about Kansas. I really think Kansas is there. I think they're going to be like Kansas of the past. Win a national championship, second round exit, and then maybe another 10 years they win another one.
Yeah, they might.
Yeah. All right, buddy. See ya. Hey, thanks everybody.
Thanks, Robert.
I'll see you Sunday, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.